welcome. This is a special streaming. Israel has been under attack since this morning. We've seen scenes that I've never seen in my life. I've never seen so much barbarism in social media within 2-3 hours. I've never seen something so unexpected since 9/11. So without further delay, we have Razi. He's not in Israel. He's somewhere far away, safe. And we have Boaz, who's actually in Israel. So Razi, let's start from you. Wait. We can't hear you. Are you muted?
Yeah, I'm muted.
Let's go.
So, now I'm not muted. Just to be clear for people who are watching us live, especially people in our American audience who might just be waking up and hearing about it from us. Basically, this is an ongoing terrorist attack. It's the terrorists invaded Israel. In some cases, took over some villages in the area around Gaza. They haven't all been killed or so this is an ongoing attack that's information will keep coming in. Of course, we will cover it on our shows throughout the week, I'm sure, quite a few times. But right now, the last I saw was a few minutes ago, was the official number was 22 Israelis murdered, but of course the number is much higher. I would be surprised if it's not, north of 100, and there's 500 injured. I'm sure that will also rise. There's soldiers and civilians who were captured, some taken to the Gaza Strip, some held hostage in their own homes or in their own villages, and so that is the situation.
We see live lynchings on video. That's why I said I have never seen so much horrific images, and these are images who are circulated by the perpetrators. So for people to understand, imagine small teams of terrorists infiltrating villages or settlements or I don't know what, outposts, and then going door to door and killing people and posting the videos. So there is no strategic aim. The aim is not to capture some area. That's why people say it's a new Yom Kippur. I don't see it as Yom Kippur. There's no strategic aim that I can see there. They're just killing people, lynching people, and uploading it on social media. That should tell you whatever you need to know about who these people are. Razi, anything else for starters, or shall we go also to Boaz?
Just on the point of the videos. Just one more point on videos is that you see Israeli videos of Israelis from their balconies filming Hamas terrorists in the street, which is horrific in its own way, because it is a foreign invasion. It may not be like
you could see also in Afghanistan style pictures of terrorists on a Toyota pickup with machine guns, killing everybody they see driving on the road around them. And also I saw in horrific videos of Hamas capturing women that are all bloody and beaten, taking them to Gaza and so on. So, but I would like to say a few words about the element of strategic aim. Basically, this is not an attack that was designed yesterday. This was in the making for a long time, and the string leading to Iran that are motivating Hamas, and this served the interest of Iran in the Middle East in general. There is a real potential now to a full-scale war that the Hezbollah will join from the north as well as the other proxy of Iran. And the aim is to make sure that Israel will not get closer to a peace agreement with Saudi Arabia. The ring will not close on Iran. And I think this is the way the Iranian respond, and the Hamas work on it for a long time, playing quiet, and actually brought Israel into this Yom Kippur or strategic surprise. It's an holiday, only few soldiers on the border, everybody went to a vacation, nobody was worried about something that may happen. They even held a nature party, thousands of Israelis were dancing in the field near Gaza, playing music and rave and all kind of music, smoking whatever they smoke, and they found themselves surrounded with terrorists shooting on them. And there is horrific stories from what happened there. This was a terrible attack. And of course, the nature of the attack, as Nikos described it, is it's not a military as we know it. It's not aiming to some strategic military target and trying to achieve something. They only try to break the border, humiliate Israel, killing civilians with undiscriminate killing. And Israel, by negotiating in the past with Hamas and giving them, freeing thousands of terrorists for captured Israeli soldier, Gilad Shalit at the time, actually paved the way to it, instead of waging a war that will eliminate the Hamas. And right now, we are in a situation that we don't know where it's going to lead to. It might be a full-scale war. It might be a decision to occupy the part of the Gaza Strip and root out the Hamas post over there. And we are with a lot of unknowns around us.
Right? Yeah, let me repeat a question to Boaz and to Razi, because I didn't understand the answer. What is the best case scenario for Hamas in doing this? So you said that they've been planning it for some time. You said that they had the help, obviously, of Iran. We already know this. What is unclear to me is what do they hope to achieve? I didn't understand that.
Well, Hamas charter basically is a jihadist, Nazi-like charter that calling to kill Jews. Simple as that. And and still they're getting the support of every bleeding heart liberal around the world that never bothered to read their charter. And this is what they're saying. They praising Allah and killing Jews. This is their aim. And all the other are excuses. And so this is a kind of war that maybe Nasrallah, the head of Hezbollah, once pronounced it very clearly, say Israel is to love life, but we love death. And this is a nihilistic war of spreading death and control, and actually trying to create an area that will be Judenrein or Judenfree or
they must know. They must know that they will lose, right? They must know that they stand zero chance.
That's the thing. This is not a loss. The killing of Jews is a victory, and this where you're looking at this the wrong way, Nikos, is like you consider an action, and then you think what's the long game there. Savages think differently. I mean, they want to kill Jews. This is a very successful day for them. Boaz also mentioned how Israel negotiates over anybody who's captured, and that also, you mentioned Gilad Shalit, but Gilad Shalit was alive. Israel negotiates over bodies of soldiers, even when they know they're dead, and they'll give back living terrorists. So we don't know the numbers. We've heard different numbers. I don't know if we should speculate, but there are many Israelis.
I would like to say also to everybody that are following the social media that there is a lot of fake. This is part of psychological warfare. So please disregard anything, because there is no clear answer, and according to the saying that till the truth is tying the shoelace, lie already circled the world twice maybe. So we are in a situation like that the confirm information takes time, and lies that been prepared ahead already spreading all around. So follow a more responsible source of information.
Yeah, but
Yeah, obviously, we're not.
The use by the terrorists of Israelis' love of life is something that we already know, and they're going to use that in the negotiation. And Boaz, you mentioned the possibility of a northern front with Hezbollah, and with the fact that there are going to be, again, we don't know how many, but likely many Israelis captured in Gaza. I think that'll probably mean that Israel won't be as keen to, for any aerial operations, which they're generally not, which means sending soldiers, sending troops on the ground, which is going to make everything more complicated for Israel, and probably
this
it'll be very bad.
Israel need a change of strategy, and I know that the security cabinet, prime minister, everybody is now sitting on discussing it in order to determine what is the aim of this war that the Hamas opened against Israel, and how ready we are to fight it against Iran from far away that might send the missiles, and from Hezbollah that have thousands of missiles. But anyway we look at it, it's look grim, and it's look like a real potential of a large-scale war, and for sure Israel will have to respond very severely right now.
But
so
the thing is, sorry, boss, who can run a long-scale war? Hezbollah cannot. I mean, every time it has been shown that.
Well, for Hezbollah, it's much more easier because they hide thousands of missiles, and for them it's just, sending somebody on a motorcycle, ignite a missile and run away. And it's directed toward the center of population, so they don't need to do some special operation. And in order to hunt this kind of missile, this take a full-scale invasion in order to root it down. This is very difficult to do, and we remember the lessons of the Gulf War when there was no way to stop all this missile firing until Iraq was captured totally with boots on the ground.
To put this into perspective for people, during the Gulf War, because there was so little time of response, Israeli airplanes were on the air all the time, so they didn't wait for a danger to go up. So they were patrolling the air all the time because their response time was very, very low. Okay, so what's then the best case? I ask you, what is Hamas after? What's the best case scenario then for Israel? So obviously the answer has to be to destroy Hamas. How can one do that?
The best case scenario is to go after all the leaders of Hamas and all the camps and all the warriors of Hamas, and every funeral that celebrate the death of a shaheed, make it as something which is unattendable, something that they will not make celebration out of it. But I doubt if Israel will go all the way here, because we are captured in a complex international system, and we need support of our allies, like i.e. the USA, which I'm not sure we will get. And even if we will answer a week after, we will get the pressures not to keep on responding.
Yeah, which is why the response should be quick. And by the way, you mentioned the leaders of Hamas. They are in Qatar. They released this video watching and celebrating.
We might have to pose a demand to deport them and to Israeli authorities. And everybody which is involved in this, but I'm talking about the same world that consider the right punishment for crimes, but we are not living in this type of world.
Yeah. So Nikos, I think the short answer to your question, I mean, this is Israel's 9/11, and the best case scenario is Israel responding in the way that the US should have responded to 9/11, but that's not going to happen.
mentioning Qatar, Qatar is a military ally of the United States. God knows why. Apparently, if the United States engages in a war, Qatar is going to send its special troops and help. So just to clarify, Razi, we don't know. It's rumored that the Hamas leadership video is from Qatar. We're not sure where they are. Something else which is interesting, there's an account on Twitter which is probably the closest to an official account of a Khamenei of Iran. And this guy some days ago was reminding the world that Israel is a cancer, the Zionists is a cancer in the world, and the Palestinians will help to remove that. And this is a guy leading a country which is still in all international institutions, and a country with which the United States is sitting on the table to negotiate, I don't know what type of deal. So haven't got much more to say. Again, this is the first reaction. I'll just say this. I've watched all kinds of TV series related to Israel, Fauda, Homeland. I've never, even in the fantasy, even in the imagination of the people who write scripts, I've never seen something like today. This is something that no one could have seen. So my last question is, how did it happen? How did we have an infiltration of ground troops against the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces, probably among the most formidable forces in the world, and people who have in-battle experience, people who have experienced surprise attacks like Yom Kippur? How did it happen on that level? Of course, it's too early to say, but what's your first estimation? So, Boaz, let's start with you. How could it be that Israel was penetrated?
First of all, unfortunately, the people that participate in Yom Kippur are not the people who are now holding the position in the IDF. This was 50 years ago and a long time ago. So now we think about it, we consider it, but we didn't learn the lesson. And we had a long time of relatively small battle days or skirmish or whatever, but nothing like that. So nobody imagined the Hamas will do it, especially when it's kind of a sure destruction of the Hamas. This is how they have to be crazy. But maybe we need to realize that they are crazy fanatics, and we didn't took it into consideration. In Israel, there was the notion that there are a terror, there are jihadists, there are dictatorship, but they have some sanity. They want to live, and it seems that this assumption is shaken to the root today.
Right. Razi, any final thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it is a good question how they managed to do this, and almost 50 years, almost to the day since the Yom Kippur attack, right?
I think yesterday was the anniversary. Yeah.
And I'm sure that's not a coincidence. So it's a good question. I mean, the question is why is Israel appeasing their enemies consistently and every single round? So when I watch Israeli television, when Hamas attacks and they talk about the response, they talk about achievements. We're going to have achievements in this response, achievements as in like destroy some Hamas infrastructure, maybe kill some leaders, but the word victory never shows up. Now, today I actually heard the word victory from a couple of people, but I don't trust them. I will believe it when I see it. So, how it happened is
we had few chance to do that, and we stopped short. And we can go back to the Second Lebanon War when Beirut was surrounded. Yasser Arafat was in a sniper sight, and there was no green light that started from the White House to pull the trigger. So nowadays we might face the same situation, unfortunately. I'm not very optimistic. I know that there will be a severe response, a lot of suffering, but no ending, no decisive victory, unfortunately.
Yeah, and the problem with the severe response is it'll involve ground operation, which will mean Israeli soldiers will die, and
Yeah.
probably not a small number. Yeah, and again, all this is what we're saying. While this is going on, we'll find out more. We'll obviously we'll talk about this on the channel on Monday. Depending on what happens in the next few hours, we might talk about it again tomorrow. Yeah, we'll
Okay.
I'll just finish with this. So for people to understand what this means for people in Israel. So I already have friends who have told me that family members are called to the army. And the only reason they are not called is because they are not in Israel at the moment. So this is what the war means for Israel. It means that you worry about your loved ones and that your children are going to have to go to war. Anyway, let's hope that, I don't know what to hope for, but let's hope you are safe, your families are safe, and wherever we have to, we're going to be back. Many thanks to Jonathan for your message of support. Many thanks to the viewers. We'll be back with when we know more during the week.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Boaz. Thanks, Razi.
Thank you, guys.